What's going on today, guys? Shoo! Alright. I wanted to make a video today. Talking about what's a good starter bike. Cause oh nice, that's neutral. Anyways, I guess depending on your experience, I don't know. I get, you know, if you have zero experience, this is not it. Not it at all. Starting on a 1000, I think even if you do have slight experience, is not a great idea. Please don't pull out in front of me. Jeez. It's just not a great idea. Number one, 600cc and up, basically like a 600cc and a 1000 or a 1300 Busa or whatever, they are way too fast. Way too, they are too much. This is, even for around here, this is a little too much. It just, the margin for error on this versus a smaller bike, a smaller CC like a Ninja 400, an R3, even an R7, something like that, the margin for error on these is much smaller. You have less time to react. Everything happens quicker. The throttle's snappy, the brakes hit hard, like everything's a lot quicker, and you can get in a really shitty spot really quick if you're not paying attention to your throttle and keeping a good head on your shoulders. They're a lot. I started on this is my first bike, but I will say I got on it and I rode it for, I don't know, 4 or 5 miles, and I had a little straight stretch, and I'd never rode in a sport bike, by the way, and I rode it for 4 or 5 miles, and I had a straight stretch, and I was like, this is why I bought it. So I got down out on it, and it just, I don't know, it blew my mind. It's hard to explain how fast they really, and how quick, you know, they accelerate. It's really hard to explain it. And a 1000 I could only imagine it. I don't know. I've not rode a 1000, but I could only imagine a 1000 is just ridiculous. Like I said, this is quite a bit, and it's a 1000 will just walk away from this. Like they're on another level. Anyways, yeah, speed is number one thing. They're just too much. They're too fast. Number two is weight. This bike, I fucking hate this key tag flies around all the time. I'm just gonna take it off. Number two, weight. This thing is not very light. And you know, here on the highway, it's not that bad. You don't really know. I mean, you can tell it's got some weight to it, but they want to stand up anyways. It's not that bad. Where it does matter is low speed stuff. If you're in, you know, a parking lot or something and you're easing around and we're walking the bike a lot, like pulling it forward, backing up in a parking spot or something, you're walking the bike around a lot, that is where you can feel weight. And even like really low speed, like driving, like in intersections and stuff like that, you can feel the weight. Side to side, this thing is pretty heavy. And even walking it back and forth, it's really heavy, especially going backwards. If you're on, if you pull in a parking lot or something and you're on a slight incline or a hill or something, this thing is heavy. I mean, it's very heavy. A lot of beginner bikes are quite a bit lighter, like 80 pounds lighter, and that's a lot. That you don't think so, but when you're talking about 400 pounds or 420 pounds, then you're taking 80 pounds. That's like almost a quarter of the weight. That's a lot. Now, one advantage this thing does have as far as weight is, well, from my understanding anyways, the more they weigh, the more stable it is on the highway. And people even say, oh, well, if you're going to ride a lot of highway or whatever, you got to get a 1000. That's not the case. This 600, well, again, this is a little much, but if you have a little bit of experiences and like some dirt bike experience and stuff, I think, as long as you pay attention, use your head and think before you do something, that you would probably be okay starting with a 600. I did, and I've put well, let's just see. I guess I put 4,000 or 5,000 miles on it, and I feel okay. There's definitely times though where I've kind of thought about it and I'm like, man, it would almost be nice if I had like a smaller CC bike, because you can use it. You can use all of it. This, you cannot use all this on the street. You can't. You can merge onto an interstate ramp or something and, go through like 2 or 3 gears, but then that's it. Unless you're just gonna be insane and, buy one and hop on the interstate and peg it at 190 and just hold it there, then, whatever. But I would say for normal street use, you cannot use all this bike. This is too much. That's another thing, price. I guess it depends on how you're going to do it. This is obviously used. This is not a new bike. And I got this for a pretty decent price. But if you're going to buy a new bike, you can get a beginner bike, like a Ninja 400 or an R3 or something like that, for basically half of what you can get a 600 for. And it's going to be like a third or a quarter of what it's going to take to get a 1000. They are 1000s are high, 600s are high-ish, and you don't want to spend a lot, which I like. Again, I didn't spend a lot on this. I got it for a pretty good deal, but I don't know, in my opinion, you don't want to spend a whole lot on a beginner bike, on your first bike, because the odds of you dropping it are pretty high. And a lot of this, just depends on experience and stuff. If you've ridden motorcycles and stuff like that, that's a little different. But if you have zero experience, I hadn't really ridden a lot of motorcycles, but I rode dirt bikes growing up and stuff my whole life. And again, that just basically, I knew, the clutch and the throttle and the brakes and where everything was. But as far as going from a dirt bike to this, a whole different story. This is way, way different. It's not even in the same ballpark. People looking at me like I'm crazy. Yeah, so totally different. And number 3 reason, insurance. Insurance on a fast sport bike like this is high AF. My insurance company on this, for full coverage, they quoted me like I can't remember, it was like $3,300 or $3,400 a year. It was over $300 a month just for insurance. It's insane. That's a lot. Okay, what's this dog doing? That's not cool. Don't want to run over you today. Sick. Anyways, insurance is a lot. That's a lot of money to be paying for insurance, in my opinion. And I've just heard that 1000s are just that much more. They're way more than even a 600 is. And you think, well, that's not that much money, you know, I could do that or whatever. Yeah, but you want to, I don't know, everybody wants to make their bike their own. You want to have money aside for, like, if you want to do mods or whatever, you want to put an exhaust on it, this and that, you know, stuff like that. You want to buy gear. Gear's a big thing. I know I'm not wearing any, you know, don't shoot me, whatever. I have gloves on, I have a helmet on, I don't have a jacket on, don't have pants on. Don't shoot me, it's hot today. And it's just a chill ride. I'm not going crazy. I was just riding over to my cousin's house for his son's birthday party. Nothing crazy. If I go on like a ride or anything like that, like a big group ride or something, I always wear gear. A lot of times, even if I'm just riding with my buddies, I wear gear, because I know riding with them, you know, we get, I wouldn't say stupid, but we have fun, you know, from time to time. So yeah, buy gear, please. That's a good idea. And you'll think you'll go to buy the gear and you're like, damn, this stuff is expensive, and that's because it is. It's not cheap. You can get reasonably priced gear, but for even that, for the most part, you know, gear's not very cheap. But you know, if you don't buy gear and then you crash, you'll be thinking, man, I really wish I would have spent the money on the gear and still had my skin on my bones, versus, you know, having to get skin grafts and all that shit. So just think about that. So yeah, they're a beginner bike for a complete beginner, I think would be a good idea. These, not so much. Again, it's just too much. The throttle's super snappy and shit, like in a parking lot and stuff. Like, it can get away from you really, really quick. So yeah, guys, anyways, I just wanted to talk about that today, make a quick little short video. I'm not an expert, but you know. Alright, thanks guys. Have a good day.